Hi, Taylor T. Carlson here, and it's movie time again. Today we're going to be unboxing another 4K Steelbook that I just picked up. This is the 4K Steelbook of Last Action Hero starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This movie came out in 1993, and unfortunately, it was a huge box office bomb. Despite that, the movie has picked up a lot of steam on home videos over the year and become something of a cult classic. Despite the film not doing too well in theaters, again, people are continuing to discover it and find that this whole self-aware approach to the world of action films is actually pretty entertaining. Not a perfect movie, but we're going to unbox the Steelbook. I'm going to share some of my opinions on the release, and we'll take it from there. Here's the front cover of the Steelbook. Great photo of Arnold there with the young boy from the film, as well as the film's logo. There's our spine. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jack Slater character in a climactic scene near the end of the film. Now let's crack this thing open. Here's what you'll see when you open it to start. Also, this is the backing card that's on this when you get the Steelbook brand new. I usually just take these off and throw them away because they're not really part of the package. You get a digital copy here. I'll probably give this away as a contest prize in one of my future videos. Back of the digital copy. Get right here, we've got our 4K Ultra High Def disc. Here we have our included Blu-ray disc copy. The film was released on Blu-ray disc twice, not counting reissues of the same disc. Once by Sony prior to 2010. This is just a reissue of that disc. Sadly, it's not remastered. And then there was a reissued version from Mill Creek Entertainment that followed a few years later, although that version got negative reviews and was subject to a lot of scrutiny. I actually had the Mill Creek disc before with that VHS-style slipcover they put out. I don't have that release anymore, but I've got this Steelbook now, so I think I've made something of an upgrade. Last Action Hero is the story of Jack Slater, who's an action hero fighting against mobsters and several villains, and there's a young man who watches all of his films, and Slater lives in the movie world and isn't aware that he's a movie character. A magic ticket transports this young boy into Jack Slater's world, and the two of them have to team up to fight against several villains, with this young man telling Slater about all the conventions of motion picture making and how he's in a movie. Unfortunately, one of the villains ends up getting his hands on the special ticket, and he goes into the real world to recruit more help so that he can take over more worlds and reign supreme. I mean, that description kind of sums it up. Last Action Hero is simultaneously a big-budget action blockbuster, but it's also a movie that lampoons and parodies the conventions of big-budget blockbusters. When you do that, there's obviously going to be some real difficulties in tone and trying to balance the serious and more comedic elements. The fact that the film's runtime is over 2 hours long, and it does tend to drag, particularly near the end, really goes to show that this movie would have benefited from additional editing. It didn't help that it came out the week after Jurassic Park, so that really hurt the box office as well. There's even an episode of Married with Children where Marcy, the neighbor banker lady, has to do layoffs at her bank, and they ask how much trouble the bank is in, and she says, "We backed Last Action Hero." So, yeah, the movie's been the butt of many a joke, but after having watched it a few times, I gotta say, it's actually not bad. It is pretty entertaining for what it does. This whole thing of, action, adventure, blockbuster conventions being lampooned would certainly be done in a lot of other films over the years, but this was probably one of the first really well-known instances of that happening. Schwarzenegger plays both Jack Slater as well as the real-life Arnold Schwarzenegger in a pivotal scene near the end of the movie set in the real world. And it is a little dated because he tries to plug the Planet Hollywood restaurant franchise, something from which he has long since withdrawn his investment. They've only got 6 restaurants left in the world now, including one here in Las Vegas at the Forum Shops at Caesar's Palace. Oddly enough, there's a Planet Hollywood Hotel Casino out here, but they didn't move the restaurant there. But that's not the purpose of this review, so we won't get into that here. It's a pretty well-cast movie. Schwarzenegger is always great, and I love seeing this self-aware side. It's like here he's trying to reach the action crowd that he catered to with the Terminator movies and Total Recall, but then it's also like at the same time he's trying to reach a slightly younger audience, like some of the people that he reached with Kindergarten Cop. It is sort of an uneven mess as a result, but that doesn't mean this movie's not entertaining. Other cast members include Art Carney in his final feature film role, Bridget Wilson in her first feature film role, should later go on to play Sonya in the first Mortal Kombat movie, and the cast also includes the likes of Professor Toru Tanaka, famed wrestler turned actor. He also appeared in Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Three Ninjas. I believe this was his final film as well. And there's just sort of a who's who, and like particularly the movie premiere scenes near the end have a lot of celebrity cameos. I'm not going to go through and name all those here. And like I said, it's a movie that's had kind of a rough history on home video with 2 previous Blu-ray releases that were pretty much devoid of extras and didn't have great transfers. I'm glad to say that Sony and Columbia certainly do right here, because this is easily the best Last Action Hero has ever looked. It's a beautiful transfer with deep black levels, HDR, improvements in detail all around. There are a few effect shots that are dated, and those are always going to look a little softer and less impressive than the rest of the movie, but overall, I was very surprised with this transfer. This is the version of Last Action Hero that fans deserve, and it's worth the double dip no matter how many times you've bought this movie before. The actual 4K disc does have a few bonus features on it, including a vintage behind-the-scenes featurette, a commentary track, and even an AC/DC music video. It's nice to see that not only did they include bonus features in this package, but they did put them right on the 4K disc. Unfortunately, the Blu-ray is the same as the old one, so it's not remastered, and it has no extra bonus features on it whatsoever. Have you had a chance to check out Last Action Hero in 4K yet? What do you think of this movie? Do you think this movie deserved the bomb in theaters, or do you think it's sort of an underrated cult classic that deserves a second look? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also remember to subscribe to this channel for more content, because I'm always posting new videos, and give this one a like if you found it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I will see you next time.